guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'll be covering part 2 to a story I covered yesterday, which is titled, My Girlfriend is Worried About Your Channel Now That She's Pregnant and Really Wants to Get Married. And guys, I'm sure you're thinking to yourself, how the heck does this guy have an update this quickly? Well, I published it last night, and this guy owns his own business, so he pretty much makes his own schedule. He watched the video, and now he's responding to lots of questions that you guys had. This video update here is, number one, a response to a lot of questions you guys had, as well as much more details about himself that many of us were wondering, his girl Maria, the family, the pregnancy, his business, all those types of things. And it's definitely a good one and answered a lot of things I wanted to know about. And by the way, guys, you guys were great in responding and chiming in yesterday to his question about the situation he's in. I think last time I checked, there's close to 400 comments, and that just shows how strong the community is. So I'm going to go through this, guys, and you're going to get to hear more details about what's going on. Some of these things aren't going to surprise you at all. And again, this is all to help this young guy out. So he says here, hello there, SSM. This is Roy again. I just saw your video pop up in my YouTube feed and thought I'd send a quick response to clarify a few questions. I was genuinely surprised that you made a video about it. I didn't think my story had much entertainment value, but one thing I wasn't surprised about is the comment section, just as I expected. Well, you know what? You can always count on the comment section of this channel. The community is strong. Some of the comments that he wasn't surprised about are as follows. Get a DNA test. She's a hoe because she doesn't like SSM. Get a DNA test. She cheated and that baby's not yours. Get a DNA test. And he says, hilarious. Well, this is a fun community. On the subject of dropping out of school, remember how when he was in Bangladesh, his dad's business tanked and he owed all this. Dad owed all this money, and dad disappeared and mom disappeared, and he was working it off. He says, first of all, you asked whether I was considered an adult when I had to drop out of school to work. The answer is no. I was 14 or 15 at the time, and like most countries, adulthood is recognized at 18 years old. Interesting. Although the labor law in Bangladesh allows employment from age 14, what they did to me would definitely violate several laws. Well, being a loan shark is also violating laws, but that happens anyway. But I can't do anything about it. The legal system, or any administrative authority for that matter in Bangladesh, is extremely corrupt. Shocker. If you have enough money and can bribe the right cop properly, you can probably get away with offing someone. Unless, of course, it becomes a media issue. Forget about concerns like forcing a teenager into, working when they shouldn't. My concerns about Maria. Now we're getting into the good stuff here. Remember, Maria, he's been with Maria for 3 years. Maria is the sister of his bro who he met. Maria is quite the stunner, and obviously they connected early on, and this guy was very indifferent towards her, and that just drew her in, and she's pregnant. He says, one of my biggest concerns, which I've had from the beginning of the relationship and still have, is whether Maria is in this for the money. Dude, you have to have that concern. I don't want to reveal too much personal information, but to give you some context, I run a business that provides web and mobile development, SaaS solutions, and product consulting for startups and enterprises. By the grace of God, we had over $45 million in annual revenue last fiscal year, and we employ more than 250 people worldwide. Holy crap. And by the way, because I have to clarify this, he says $45 million in revenue, not profit. He's not taking in $45 million to himself. Somebody's going to confuse it. The business, $45 million in sales revenue. Damn, dude, you really downplayed it in the previous email. Obviously, you're a modest guy, but holy crap. And by the way, guys, in the last video, I thought he was like 24 or 25. I speculated that. He's very close to 30. So this is fantastic, man. I mean, holy crap. Obviously, you employ people worldwide, and they do the same thing you did when you're in Bangladesh, when you were learning this coding and development and all that shit. And now you run a business where you essentially hire people around the world to do what you did, and for a fraction of a cost that would cost here is what it is, and you're doing phenomenal. Congratulations. That's awesome. And you bet your ass you have to be worried about any woman showing you interest knowing this. Maria may not know the numbers, but she can obviously connect the dots and see you do very well. And let's just say, for argument's sake, that He says, by the way, he says he's the largest shareholder. He has partners and shareholders. Let's just say you own 20% of the business. I'm picking a number. And of that $45 million in revenue he did last year, let's just say 10% is profit after all expenses and taxes. And I'm being conservative here. And you own 20%. You're getting 900 grand a year. Yeah, you got something to worry about. But something tells me your profit margins, given the fact that you subcontract people around the world and it's web development and all that, is probably vastly higher than 10%. But anyhow, that's awesome, and you got to protect your ass. He says, I hold the largest equity share in the company, but it's not a sole proprietorship. I have business partners and shareholders involved. You better not be a sole proprietorship. I guess you said you're an LLC, or at least started as an LLC. Perhaps at this point you're going to become at least incorporated as like an S corporation or something. I don't know. It's your business. You obviously you got people to tell you that. Well, I've already seen 2 of my business partners go through nasty divorces, which was a very unpleasant experience, to say the least. I'd love to talk more about those situations because I know your viewers would enjoy it, but I don't want this email to be easily traced back to me. I probably already shared too much. Feel free to cut anything out if you think I'm oversharing. Too late. I mean, this is what you wrote. After the first incident, I had a long conversation with our then chief legal officer about the importance of recommending prenups to all relevant stakeholders. Unfortunately, all we could do was push it as a recommendation. We couldn't enforce it. People don't appreciate the chairman meddling in their personal lives, I suppose. They may not appreciate it, but it will mess up business if all of a sudden, think about it, you own a business and you have multiple partners that have a stake in it, and all of a sudden they get divorced, and now the wife gets a piece of it, and she can stick her nose in your freaking business. It happens, as you can clearly see. One thing I know for sure is an ironclad prenup is mandatory for me before I even consider marriage. I've had this conversation with Maria, and she's completely on board. Well, that's good to hear. But also, didn't you say she has a trust fund? I don't know how big that trust fund is. It could be $200,000 or it could be $1 million. But obviously she's on board because she too has something to lose. And in a way that works out. But yes, you both need to have prenups and talk to the right attorney and all that. Her family. Now we're on another good subject here. He says, yes, Maria is the only girl in her family. And no, having 7 Latino brothers does not make dating easy. That's what I thought. They always try to man up around me. I've even received some semi-threats to off me from them, including my buddy Daniel and her father, just in case I ever hurt their little girl. Obviously, they're joking, but they are serious. They better not hurt their sister. Jokes aside from the fact that every man in that family is a certified man whore, they do have good morals. Well, okay, you can hook up, but, wouldn't you say that her brother Daniel, I believe that's his code name, was personal trainer, I was banging married women? That doesn't seem very moral to me. But okay, putting that aside. Her dad, the family patriarch, is a strong man, and her mom is an incredibly sweet lady. They raise their daughter well, though not so much the sons. I occasionally go out with the dad and the brothers for drinks and fishing. We have a good time. They're dickheads, but good people. In other words, they're a-holes, but they're amusing. Some of your viewers also had an issue with me dating my friend's sister, which is understandable. I had a long conversation with Dan after our hiking trip. He told me that his sister liked me, and that was enough for him. If I were just chasing a quick hookup, he would have beaten the crap out of me on the spot, even if I was his best friend. See, that's the thing. He knows your character. He knows you're not the hookup type, and therefore wouldn't be, like that way with his sister. But I still wouldn't be advised dating your buddy's sister or cousin or anything like that. It's just unnecessary drama that can come out of it. But what's done is done. But he made clear that he wasn't going to meddle in our relationship unless I did something bad to her. He also assured me that even if we broke up, our friendship would remain intact. Of course, as easier said than done, things can get complicated quite quickly, so I didn't push the issue any further. Yeah, that's all. Everybody can say that until there's a problem. You find out that she's pregnant with a baby and it's not your baby, and you're saying, I'm not raising this kid, and Daniel ain't going to be your buddy then. Or, I'm not marrying her or something like that. Her thoughts about your channel. Here we go. He says, let's address something that keeps popping up in the comment section. He says, Maria does not hate your channel. He put that in bold with a giant exclamation point. Okay, it's good to hear, but I'm sure she doesn't love me. He says, she's just concerned about why I'm consuming this type of content. She never told me to stop watching, but think about it. If your girl was constantly browsing open relationship forums, diving into the land of cucks on Reddit, and looking up swinging and polyamory, what would you think? You'd assume she's gearing up to ask for an open relationship, right? Well, one might think that, or think that she's like, holy shit, these are stupid ideas. But obviously you're watching me because, well, I promote self-improvement and getting your shit together and all that. So it isn't just train wreck stories. But people will focus on all the negative shit here. Maria probably has similar concerns. Whether I'm subconsciously questioning her loyalty and honestly, that's a fair thought process. Am I missing something here? Dude, you're protecting yourself. Do you know how many women, for as long as I can remember, have been reading like magazines and watching shows like that give like advice on dating and relationships and all that, and oftentimes horrible advice, right? Well, now guys have something like me and other channels like that. It levels the playing field. You know, it helps guys hear stories and train wreck stories. You're a sharp guy. You're educating yourself, you know? I mean, you're learning from other people's failures and mistakes before you make one yourself. Nothing wrong with that. And frankly, a lot of people watch me not to learn anything, but they just find these stories entertaining as all hell. To them, it's better than Netflix. The marriage conversation. He said, yeah, Maria started dropping hints about marriage and kids maybe 1 year into our relationship. Oh boy, red flag, too soon. I get that she digs you. I get she's in her 20s. I get that she wants to have a big family and all that. Great. But still, that's way too soon. You need a long time. Even though you guys obviously get along great and everything, which I'm happy for you. But still, you got to be careful. One of her friends is expecting her 6th child this year, and she's only 27 years old. Oh, good Lord, these Latina girls. He said, did I mention she's also Latina? No shit. And she's probably from Florida. Maria says she wants at least 8 kids, like her parents. Holy hell, what's up with that? Honestly, Elon Musk should consider sending Latina women to Mars. The planet will be crawling with babies in no time. Well, okay. Well, you tell Maria, on the basis that you guys have a great thing going, and this is your child in there, and you do marry her, say, okay, Maria, let's have you give birth first, for the first time, to go through labor. I'm sure that's not going to be fun. And then have the baby, and the sleepless nights, and diapers, and crying, and all that shit, before, no pun intended. And then we can talk about more kids and see how enthusiastic you are to have more of them. But 8 kids... Obviously, you don't want 8 kids, so you're going to have to come to some... Again, if this is... You guys are long-term and you get married and all. She wants 8 kids and you don't want 8 kids. You're going to have to find a compromise and make it abundantly clear. And after that kid, say 4 kids is born, vasectomy. How the hell are you going to house 8 kids plus the 2 of you? You can get a 5-bedroom house, 1 bedroom for just you guys, and you'd have the other kids all splitting a room. That's going to be one tight, full house. I can't imagine the involved of handling 8 kids. I can't imagine 2 kids, but 8 kids? Anyway, like I mentioned before, she explicitly asked for marriage after the pregnancy was confirmed. Well, you said she was bringing it up before, and now she's pregnant. Now we can all speculate whether... Let's just say it's even your kid. And I really, truly hope this is your child. Really, dude, I do. How do you know that, because you said you weren't wearing condoms, this was by design? Because she's dying to get married. And whoa, I'm pregnant now. I'm being honest here. I mean, you said you weren't too brokenhearted about this because you want a family and all that, but still. I do want to get married and have a family. And you're right, SSM, those desires probably stem from my bad past experiences, but their origin doesn't really matter to me. Still, I don't trust people easily, not specifically women, but people in general. Well, now that you're in your own company, you gotta always have a, not just trust but verify, but just assume sometimes the worst. It's unfortunate. And since you got money and you're a determined guy, I mean, you said your firm brought in $45 million in revenue last year. 10 years from now, you could be bringing in $500 million for all you know. You can't trust anybody. You gotta be, really have your guard up. It's the cost of it. Even though I believe she's a wonderful woman, there's always a chance it could be an act. Yes, you have to think that. Even if it's genuine, and I like to believe it is, she is young, her emotions could change over time. What happens when we have kids and settle down? Will she be the same person? Will she become the type of mother who prioritizes thrills and excitement over family when a midlife crisis comes? Yes, that happens. And you gotta be careful. I did a story about that. Well, let me rephrase that. I've done lots of stories about that, but one comes to mind. I don't have answers to these questions. 3 years is a very short time to figure them out. That's my point. That's why, in my opinion, there's no need to rush to the altar just yet. I know I'll never have 100% certainty unless I develop psychic powers, but I need more assurance before I can seriously consider proposing. Well, you got the money, amigo, and you could obviously hire a PI to do some digging, but better be careful. To me, it's not primarily about money. I can secure my finances, but if I make a lifetime commitment to a woman who turns out not to be worth it, that would damage my dignity as a man. Hey, I hear you. On the financial side of things, I've been thinking about something. Last month, I saw your video about the Latina woman who almost ruined her marriage after becoming a feminist. If I remember correctly, her husband didn't have a custom marriage contract. I spoke to my CLO about this, and he said it should be feasible. I'd like to hear your thoughts about that. Well, I remember that video very well, and his situation was interesting, but his wife too, Latina, had a midlife crisis, and he put her in her place real quick, and he's basically like, all right, you're out the door, and he had some kind of contract that she signed. Basically, if she wants to end the marriage in a certain time frame, or for whatever reason, she'll get this, but that, talk to your lawyer. Also, some of your viewers mentioned that moving in together can be risky due to common law marriage. But as far as I know, Florida does not recognize common law marriage, so I should be safe on that front. Yes, Florida, as of now, does not have a recognized common law marriage. However, if you lived in another state like Pennsylvania, and you and your girl were living together and then became common law marriage according to the law of Pennsylvania and moved to Florida, Florida will recognize that common law marriage, if I'm not mistaken. But other than that, you're good. The DNA test. Oh boy. Now to address the most popular comment, DNA testing. I trust her, but I don't blindly trust anyone. Well, trust but verify. I will absolutely get a DNA test. Thank you, Jesus. But I will not tell her. If she knows me well, she should already expect that I'll do a DNA test anyway before signing the birth certificate. Thank God. But this is one of those things you don't explicitly say. Well, I told you you're going to get fucking Latina hellfire like you wouldn't believe the second you bring that up. This sweet, loving Maria is going to turn into like Hurricane Maria. Well, I decided against a prenatal paternity test because she hasn't given me any reason to doubt her. My standards for her are high. If she even entertained a man on the street who was sexually interested in her, I would break up with her on the spot, and she knows that. Well, good for you. And it sounds to me, based on who you are and things you said about yourself, you love her, but you're not in love with her. And that's the ideal place to be, because when a man is in love with her, the girl, that's when he starts making stupid-ass decisions. That's when women have power over men. When they're in love with them. That's when they can start making ultimatums, and the guys are so scared about being alone and so scared about losing her that they give in to the ultimatums. And it's a vicious cycle, because then she loses respect for the guy, and the bullshit continues. But if you're not in love with her, but you love her, you'd like to have her there, you have a great time with her, but she starts pulling bullshit, you can easily walk away. It says here, I'm always observant, always watching. I won't specify my age, but I'm up there. And closer to 30, and she's, a few years younger. For example, not long ago, we were at the gym together. I was deadlifting, my favorite lift, by the way, and while she was doing leg extensions, a guy approached her and started chatting her up. I don't remember his exact words, but it was something along the lines of, do you come to this gym often? Really? That's what he chose to do to pick up your hottie girlfriend? She responded right away, oh, me and my boyfriend come here pretty often. Well, good for her. She's very attractive, but she's never entertained attention from other men. I don't know about that, dude. You have only known her 3 years. She gave me her phone password and nagged me to give her mine. I didn't give her the password to my work phone because all my business-related information is there. She just wanted access to my personal phone. That's a fair arrangement. Look, if you're going to get passwords, if you're going to have access to her phone, It's only fair she has access to yours. Personal phones. But remember, people can always have second phones. She could be a master actress, sure, but she has never given me any reason to doubt her. I'd rather not create unnecessary drama by asking for a paternity test. She would agree to it, but she'd probably hold it against me, and I wouldn't blame her. Well, she would hold it. I mean, here's the thing. Think about this, and I'm going to be fair here. Guys, if you have a girlfriend, you have a wife, and you are 100% loyal and never cheat on her, and she asked you to do something to provide some information that, would make it appear like you cheated, that would rub you the wrong way, even though common sense would, come in there and say it's just playing it safe. A guy has every right to ask your girl for paternity test and should make it clear early on he's going to ask that before having kids. And yeah, you can understand a degree if she's been loyal, how it can be upsetting, but common sense should show you got to protect yourself. Unless something unexpected happens, I plan to spend the next 9 months preparing to be a dad, with no doubts in my mind. After the birth, I'll do the paternity test, and if anything is out of line, I'll come back with an update. Hopefully that won't be the case. Well, okay, but here's the thing. She gives birth, and there's a beautiful baby. And how soon do you sign the birth certificate? Because the question is, she just gave birth, and, oh, honey, I can't sign the certificate here because I need a DNA test first. I mean, I don't know how long it takes to get them. I have no idea. So you better prepare that well. You're still going to see Latina Hellfire with all her family there to come see probably the first grandchild. And her dad's only daughter giving birth. And the brother's only sister. And then you say, oh, I want a DNA test. That could be ugly. But you're a smart guy. Well, you're a wealthy guy. You can hire some private security because you're going to fucking need it. 4 bodyguards, 2 in front of you, 2 behind you. Final note. He says Krav Maga. Aha. One last thing. You mentioned you did Krav Maga. As someone who generally enjoys fighting, I prefer martial arts that haven't just become sports but are more practical for real-life situations. Krav Maga definitely fits that description. Between work and personal life, I don't have much time left these days, but I'd love to give it a try in the future. Any advice for someone looking to get started? Anyway, man, I love all 3 of your channels. Keep doing what you do, and have a great day. Regards, Roy. Well, thank you, Roy. Real quick about the Krav Maga. I know you said you did Muay Thai for a while, and that's a fantastic workout. Krav Maga was created as a street fighting type of thing. They took fighting systems, different martial arts, and put it in there to be practical. And every Krav school is a little different because the instructor takes different things. My school used a lot of things from boxing and Muay Thai for the street fighting element. We used a lot of BJJ for if you got on the ground and we had to deal with that. We did a lot of weapons defense against people coming at you with a stick or a knife, even gun defense. And all sorts of things, close range fighting, self-defense in terms of when people are coming behind you with a headlock, chokehold, bear hugs, every possible thing you can think of. And it's very practical, very good. There's no flying kicks in this because it makes no sense in a street fight to do a jump kick and spin kicks when you could be on the street and there could be some ice on the ground and you slip and fall on your ass and break your head open. It's practical shit. Ideally, keeping your feet on the fucking ground. But anyhow, it's a fantastic art. I did it for 6+ years. I earned a black belt in it. Not every school gives belts. They did at mine. But I would check around your area that offers Krav Maga. Go watch a class. They'll probably let you participate 1 or 2 just to see if you like it. If you like what they have to offer, you like the energy of the class, the instructors, that's key. Give it a shot. Say, hey, I'll do it for 6 months, see how it goes, no matter what, and go twice a week. Or 3 times if you can swing it. But you got a baby coming soon. You may not have a whole lot of time for that. But anyhow, man, go for it. It was a great thing. I'm so happy I did it. Anyhow, I really appreciate your update here. We all enjoyed it. I didn't expect your response as quickly, but then again, when you own your own company, you can do whatever the fuck you want. So congratulations on your business. I'm unbelievably impressed. That's so fucking cool. Sky's the limit. But again, be smart about things with Maria and her family and all that. You might need to hire a few You know what? Shit, you're a wealthy guy. You don't even need to learn Krav Maga. You can hire some fucking bodyguards the way you're going. Be like Jeff Bezos. That dude walks around with 2 dudes in front of him, 2 dudes behind him. But anyhow, you're not there yet. So yes, try out Krav. You'll like it. So anyhow, bro, good luck to you. I appreciate you writing in. And guys, chime in if you want to. Give this guy some comments. Wish him the best. And you know what? Regardless, let me know down the road how things are going. I guarantee the guys here want to know. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.